you think about your surroundings, motion in your daily life, and collide with someone you love. It is the classical mechanics by physics lover. Motion in your central force field in center of mass is effective mass or normal mass. Center is center force act along the position vector of a particle drawn in your center of force. It is the F of r is equals to E cap r F of r, where E cap r is the unit vector of r. F of r is positive, it is the repulsive force. F of r when negative, it is the attractive force. Central force depend upon effective mass is U. U is equals to m1 m2 upon my m1 plus m2, and that phi of r minus phi of naught is integration of r naught to r L by r square dr upon my 2u e minus v minus L square by 2u r square. R is the radius, v is the potential energy, E is the total energy, U is the effective mass, and R is the radius. In the general feature of motion, an inverse square law is used in everywhere. In there, L square upon my U R square is centrifugal force. F of R is minus dVr by dr. V is the potential energy. Dr by dt is 2 upon my u E minus Ve. V is also potential energy, E is the total energy. The force exerted by one particle to another varies. Inverse square of distance between them, it is the F of r is k upon r square. Ve is minus mod of k by r plus L square by 2u r square. In the equation of orbit, y only equation of orbit, it is the d square y by d phi square plus y is 0, and its solution is y is equals to a cos phi minus phi naught. 1 upon r is mod of k u upon L square plus y. In the nature of orbit, eccentricity, orbit and radius are depending upon this. E greater equal to greater 0, eccentricity greater 1, it is the hyperbola, and its radius is a e square minus 1 upon plus or minus 1 plus e cos phi. In orbit of nature, E is 0, eccentricity is 1, it is the parabola, and a upon my 1 minus cos theta is radius. In VE minimum less 0 less VE minimum less E less 0 is 0 E 1, it is the ellipse, and mod of k by 2e its radius. E is equals to VE minimum is eccentricity 0, it is the circle, and radius is a. In the Kepler's law of motion, why it is so important in the motion of Kepler? First, the planet moves around the sun in an elliptical orbit with the sun at one of the foci of orbit. Second, the area swept out by the radius vector around from the center of the sun of the center of planet is equal interval of time are equal. In other words, the aerial velocity is equal. The square of the period of revolution of the planet is directly proportional to the cube of semi-major axis orbit. T square proportional to a cube. In the elastic and inelastic collision, why only kinetic energy changes? If total energy of all particles before and after collision are equal, it is called elastic collision. If total energy of all particles before and after collision are not equal, it is an inelastic collision. In elastic collision, left from k1 square by 2m1 is equals to p1 square by 2m1 plus p2 square by 2m2, where k2 is 0 and t1 plus t2 is equals to p1 plus p2. It is the law of conservation of energy and conservation of momentum, in that t2 by K1 is equals to 1 minus T1 by K1 kinetic energy. P1 by K1 is m1 upon my m1 plus m2 cos phi plus or minus m1 plus m2 m1 upon my m1 plus m2 square cos square phi minus m1 minus m2 upon my m1 plus m2's half. In center of mass frame, K1 square by 2u is P1 square by 2u is half of u v naught square. V naught is the initial velocity. In inelastic scattering, kinetic energy is converted to sound and heat. It is the normal in one who see in our world. P1 is P3 plus P4, T1 is T3 plus T4 plus Q is the Q factor of kinetic energy of sound and heat. So P1 square by 2 m1 is equals to P3 square by 2 m3 plus P4 square by 2 m4 plus Q, where Q is T1 upon my T1 into 1 minus m1 by m4 minus T3 1 plus m3 by m4 plus 2 T1 T3 m1 m3 upon my m4 square cos theta ni half. Q plus T greater equal to 0. In the cross section and Rutherford formula, oh, it is the potential in the Rutherford formula of, yes, concept of scattering probability is introduced through cross section, and d phi is equals to 2 pi sin theta dash d phi dash. Theta is equals to a plus b square cos theta. Vr is 1 upon r e cap minus r by beta. It is the Rutherford formula. Phi is initial angle, phi dash is final angle, sigma is a unit intensity of incident beam per second, Vr is potential, and beta is scattering radius. You are guys amazing. Thank you for watching.